The first arrow struck flesh. A thunderous roar split the stillness of the jungle, so powerful it rattled the air and echoed through the trees like rolling storms. The elephant staggered, its massive frame trembling, its eyes glimmering with both fury and pain. The hunter, chest heaving, grinned with pride, his bow lowered. His hand shook, not from fear, but from triumph. He had done what no other man in his village dared. He had wounded the largest, most elusive elephant the forest had ever seen. But what he did not know, what he could not know, was that this was no ordinary creature. This was a guardian spirit, a being born from the soul of the land itself. The hunter's name was Arik, a man hardened by seasons of hunger, dust, and disappointment. His arms bore the strength of survival, his face carved with lines from years beneath a merciless sun. He walked with a restless pride, believing that the jungle belonged to those bold enough to claim it. He carried the silence of scars unspoken, of a life spent chasing victories that never filled the hollow inside him. Others had mocked him for his obsession. His father had once called him reckless, warning that pride was the fastest road to ruin. Yet Arik's heart burned with a desire that drowned all caution. He did not want to merely hunt. He wanted to conquer, to stand above men and beasts alike. And now, with his arrow buried in the elephant's side, he believed he had finally done it. The jungle, however, held its silence. The birds did not return to their branches. The wind did not move the leaves. Even the air seemed heavy, as though the very earth had drawn in a breath and refused to release it. Arik felt it, but ignored it, convinced it was fear of him that hushed the wild. He pressed forward, bow in hand, determined to track his prey. The elephant had vanished into the trees, but the trail of crimson on the leaves betrayed its path. Every drop was a victory to Arik. Every step was a march deeper into his pride. Yet with every step forward, something else stirred. He began to hear whispers, not the whispers of men, but of branches, of wind sliding through bark, of water trickling over hidden stones. It was as if the forest itself was watching him, breathing around him. His chest tightened, though he told himself it was nothing. He told himself that the jungle feared him now, for he had struck down its greatest beast. But the truth was far darker. The jungle did not fear. It mourned. Arik's mind wandered as he tracked the elephant deeper. He remembered his boyhood, when his father had taken him hunting for the first time. They had seen deer, birds, even wild boar, but his father had refused to strike them down without reason. "Take only what you need," his father had said. "Life does not belong to us. We borrow it. We honor it." But Arik had not listened then, and he did not listen now. His father's words felt weak. To him, honor meant nothing without power. Respect was useless without victory. And so, he walked on. Hours passed and the forest grew denser. The air turned heavy with dampness, the smell of earth thick in his nose. Shadows clung to the roots of trees, and strange eyes flickered in the undergrowth. His prize, however, kept ahead of him. The trail of blood was fresh, almost guiding him deeper, as if the elephant itself wanted him to follow. Finally, he saw it again. The creature stood at the edge of a clearing, its massive body swaying, its wound still bleeding but its eyes steady. Golden eyes, not the dull, black gaze of a beast, but eyes that shimmered with something eternal, something knowing. They locked onto Arik, piercing through him with a weight that made his chest ache. For the first time, his triumph faltered. The hunter raised his bow again. His hands were steady, but his heart was not. The elephant did not move to attack. It did not flee. It simply watched him, standing tall despite the wound in its side, its ears lifted in silent defiance. It was in that silence that Arik felt something crack inside him. He saw not a beast, but a guardian. He remembered stories whispered by elders around the fire, of spirits that walked the earth in the form of animals, protectors of balance, keepers of life's circle. He had laughed at those tales, dismissing them as tricks to keep men fearful and weak. But standing before those golden eyes, he no longer laughed. The forest whispered again, and this time he heard it clearly. You have wounded more than flesh, it seemed to say. You have struck the heart of balance itself. Arek's breath quickened. He lowered his bow but did not release it. His pride battled with his fear. To admit this was a spirit meant admitting he had sinned against the land itself. To press forward meant defying forces far greater than his own. His pride screamed louder. He pulled back the bowstring, but the elephant did not flinch. Instead, it took one step forward, then another. Its eyes burned into his, not with rage, but with sorrow. Each step made Arek's arms weaken, his bowstring tremble. And then, in that terrible silence, the elephant bowed its head. Not in surrender, in warning. Arek's knees shook. His father's words returned with full force, echoing in his skull. Take only what you need. Life does not belong to us. We borrow it. We honor it. His grip loosened. The bow lowered. For the first time in his life, he felt the weight of what he had done. Not just to a creature, but to the balance of all things. He had hunted for pride, not for need. He had wounded a guardian, not a beast. And in that moment, he understood. Killing for pride destroys balance. The elephant turned, slow and deliberate, and walked deeper into the jungle. Its wound still bled, but its strength remained. Arek stood frozen, powerless, as the forest seemed to exhale at last. The whispers faded, replaced by the gentle hum of life returning. The rustle of leaves, the chirp of birds, the distant call of unseen creatures. Arek dropped his bow. It hit the earth with a hollow thud, and he fell to his knees. The hunter did not leave the jungle unchanged. For days he followed no prey, took no life. He carried no pride in his chest, only the heavy truth of what he had done. The village mocked him for returning empty-handed, but he no longer cared, for he knew what they did not. The jungle was not his to conquer. The beasts were not his trophies. Every life taken without need weakened the balance that sustained them all. And balance, once broken, is not easily restored. Arek lived on, quieter than before, his eyes carrying the memory of golden light that had pierced his soul. He spoke little of what he had seen, for he knew most would not believe. Yet his silence was not weakness. It was honor. And when younger hunters laughed at his refusal to boast, he would only whisper one truth: respect all creatures, for in their eyes, you may see the spirit that keeps us alive. The forest still whispers his story. Some say the spirit elephant still roams, its wound healed, its golden eyes ever watchful. Others believe it visits only those who carry pride in their hearts, to remind them that power without respect is destruction. But all who hear the story know this: the greatest hunters are not those who conquer life. They are those who protect it. And in the quiet breath of the jungle, one truth remains: killing for pride destroys balance.